Welcome to the White Sox Recap Podcast. I am Ryan McGuffey. Well, as promised, we've been talking about doing a podcast as we hit the Thanksgiving Day holiday and turn the corner into the winter meetings, that the White Sox can compete if they put together a team with roughly $100 million payroll. Yes, I said it. They can compete for that wild card-ish spot, the Cincinnati Reds of 2026. The question is, will they? Right now, as we sit here, they have $37.1 million on the books. 37.1. Now, this is pre-arbitration, and Brian Anderson and I are going to get into it. It's Luis Robert and Andrew Benintendi. That's the money committed. I see a path by spending wisely that a $100 million payroll could push this thing forward into 2026. I don't care about 2027 right now. The Sox made a flurry of moves this week. They dumped some veteran arms. They acquired some promising young talent. We're going to get into what those moves might mean. And Chris Getz said, no, we are not shopping Luis Robert. ... Or are they? It's all going to be on this edition of the White Sox Recap Podcast. But first, a note from Sinus and Snoring MD. Fall allergies, they're in full swing. Ragweed, mold, dust can trigger congestion. Cap was a snorer. Then his wife, Mindy, was like, dude, you can't keep doing this. There's no way I'm going to stay in this bed with you. You got to go see our friends at Sinus and Snoring MD.com. Their advanced treatments and procedures actually fix the problem so you can breathe better, sleep better, feel better. Don't let the cold weather hit just yet. It's not cold yet. Start the season the right way. Visit sinusandsnoringmd.com today or call 847-886-0875 with locations in Oak Creek, Kenosha, Mount Prospect, Lombard, and monthly Elgin pop-ups. Sinusandsnoringmd.com. Time to see how the White Sox can compete with a $100 million payroll. That's right. I said it. $100 million. Brian Anderson joins me on this edition of the White Sox Recap Podcast, and it starts right now. All right, BA, good to see you, my friend. And, look, we've been talking about a path. You and I have been wanting the White Sox to spend money now for a couple of years. Now, we're not talking – look, I got a list here, and before we get into the flurry, there's like 20 pages of wasted paper right here. You know why? Kyle Tucker's name's on here. Kyle Schwarber's name's on here. Pete Alonso's name's on here. None of this means anything. We don't need these. I'm being realistic. These pages don't matter. I'd like the White Sox to add Kyle Schwarber, but damn it, I'm trying to be realistic and tell you that there's a path to competing in 2026. But before that, the White Sox made a flurry of moves this week to their roster. They added a few names to their 40-man, a few intriguing names. And I would say all of the moves that they made this week are intriguing. To me, they signal something more. They shipped out Steven Wilson and Yoendis Gomez to the Tampa Bay Rays for Everson Pereira and Tanner Murray, promising prospects. Pereira specifically was once the Yankees' top prospect. He's had a cup of coffee in both the New York and Tampa Bay organizations, hit under 200. He's got some good power. I think if Luis Robert stays, he could be a fourth outfielder, Michael Tauchman type player. If he goes, though, you have insurance right now. Frazier Ellard, a surprise retirement. Chris Getz got into that yesterday as we taped this in meeting the meter. Duncan David and Chris Murphy acquired from the Boston Red Sox for a minor league catcher that the White Sox were never going to have up here in Ronnie Hernandez. So some promising young pieces. The White Sox shipped out about 100 major league innings to get Pereira. So kind of table that for now. Your take on some of these moves of the shuffling of the deck before we get into how the White Sox can compete?
Yeah, first things first, man. $100 million is a lot. I think back when I played, and you're like, no, 100 million. You're like, hey, man, Konerko made 12, Jim made 16, Jermaine made 9, Garland made 9. You're like, hey, isn't that under 100 million? So I'm a little jaded. I have to get with the times, man.
Yeah, let me tell you, $100 million payrolls this year. You have to every single team in baseball, with the exception of the Pittsburgh Pirates, the A's, the Rays, the Marlins, and the White Sox. Those are your teams that did not have $100 million payroll.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. I mean, it's obviously that's bare minimum. That's bottom of the barrel right now. But in regards to those pieces you picked up, that's crucial, man. The White Sox need outfield depth. They get that in Pereira. The Tanner Murray kid, you sleep on him. I think he hit 16, 18 homers last year in Durham, right? Like that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen easily. High teens to 20, that translates, and you get those kids with a Derek Shulman, a new hitting coach, and you never know what could happen. A change of scenery is always big. But I really love the Chris Murphy one the most. I believe he adds the most value. It's a left-handed arm, spot start, length in the bullpen. I think he eats up innings for you. I think that he could be effective too against right-handed pitching. I like that move. I think you got to go get the Eric. Is it Fetty, right? Like you got to go get the Eric Fettys of the world. You got to find a couple. The White Sox, you want them to go spend and go get a couple players for 2 for 20, 3 for 39. That's fine, but they need a couple. They need a couple diamonds in the rough for sure.
Yeah, I do like the move to get Murphy as well. Coming off Tommy John in 2024, did show some flashes with the Red Sox this year. So there are some names on here that are intriguing to me as we turn the page now and talk about this $100 million payroll. You heard the two names that the White Sox are committed to right now. $37.1 million. I know arbitration's coming. For two players it is. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, Chris Getz would love to move Luis Robert. I know he said that in his availability on Wednesday of this week that they're not shopping him and they plan on him in a White Sox. I know that's Guff, table.
Let me ask you this. Very rarely, because we're equally yoked. That's a relationship term, even though we're not dating. Let me ask you this. I think we're both tired of the Luis Robert experiment. Not for 20 million, right? I like the kid.
Any million. I don't give a well. Any million.
But you and I both know by signing him to that 1-year deal makes him attractive to about 25 other teams. You don't sign him in hopes that he has a breakout year, because what's the upside to that? We've talked about it before. Let's just say Luis Robert goes off in the spring training. He did last year. They don't move him, his price tag, I know, but let's just say he goes off this year. He's not coming back. Like he's not going to, his price tag just goes up. This will be the last year he ever played for the White Sox, period.
Oh God, please, from your lips to God's ears. But I'm telling you, I do think I wouldn't be surprised if there was some package trade that linked him to one of the White Sox young players right now. I'm not saying it's possible. I'm not giving you any inside information. I'm just letting you know that I think there are teams that are figuring out their books. And once some of the dominoes start to fall at the winter meetings, and some teams are like, oh, shit, we missed this guy. We need to add that guy. I think it's more likely than not that Luis Robert does start the season with the White Sox. I do. And to me, at the deadline, you have to move him no matter what, unless you're doing some of the things that we talk about here, and the White Sox are 5 games over at the All-Star break, and he's a piece of it, and you're going to try to get a wild card spot. I would say unless. I would still move him anyway, but that's just me. All right.
But to your point though, before we start adding players, don't sleep on a Benintendi trade either. And I say that because if he's healthy, you look at like a former team of his, like the Royals or Boston, right? If they need some veteran leadership or a piece or a bat late, and or let's just say he starts, and let's say someone gets hurt, they'll take on the majority of that contract, or at least split it with the White Sox. Right now, if you told the White Sox you could dump $7.5 million and ship him for a player, they're doing it.
100%. We keep talking about Robert. You're right. Benintendi, not his fault. He signed 5 for 75. That was the package he got.
He's a solid player too.
Probably the value of the contract at the time. It just hasn't worked here, and he's a misfit now. He's just a misfit. So let's get into some of the guys. We've talked about Cedric Mullins many times here. I'm adding Cedric Mullins. That's something I'd like to see happen after the podcast is over. So
what do you think gets him? What number? Yeah, unfortunately for the White Sox, I think he's going to get to a multi-year deal. I think they're going to have to pony up for 2 or 3.
All right, so I don't think you're getting, if you're paying 3 years for our guy. Here, he's not even on the list in the top 50. I've seen him anywhere from 1 to 6 to 1 to 8. So let's say the White Sox go 1 for 10, because there's going to be a tax. But I'm going to say this. Chris said it yesterday. You come here, there is opportunity. He's become kind of a fourth outfielder, 3-day-a-week guy for a contender. That's a fact. If he wants to be an everyday guy, BA, he can come here for probably an extra $1.5 million, or maybe he gets a 1+ club option type situation,
which they never take if they play well.
Yeah, right. So, but I'm adding that right now to the corner. I don't think Michael Tauchman's the one guy, because Steven Wilson was traded. He was arbitration eligible, so he's out. Tauchman's the one guy that's ARB eligible. The number's somewhere around 3.6. I don't know if the White Sox tender him a contract. I don't.
Yeah, it's tough because you like his
I like him a lot.
Presence. I like him as a player, and my God, now again, I have to get out of the early 2000s mindset of
yes, you do.
3.5 million is for a 3.7, 4 million is a lot. I mean, I think Gordon Beckham and Chris Getz would get that like an arbitration, right? So to go grab him and give him 3.5 for a year, I think you got to do it. The White Sox
you're saying yes to talk, but I'm saying no.
No, I don't know what the White Sox will do. They should, because you can't. A left-handed bat that hits 10 to 15 homers, you got to keep it.
I'm just worried about his long-term health. I am. He was banged up a little bit last year. But if I'm giving you a scenario where you got Pereira in the trade, an athletic center fielder type that could replace Luis Robert tonight, you add a corner outfielder in Cedric Mullins, tell me where Tauchman plays. I don't.
Well, you know where he plays. He plays because the White Sox have not had the same lineup since Nam. Like they shuffle the lineup so much because they had to in order to find ways to win games. Like you just said with the Cedric Mullins thing, you come here because you're gonna play. Like even if you like having an atrocious spring training, like someone's gonna go down or someone's gonna get hurt or they're not gonna play well or the White Sox are gonna get off to a bad start and you're in. So there has in 2 major league seasons, there has never been a better time to get an opportunity for a Major League Baseball player or a minor league baseball player in an organization.
I agreed with that, but I'm giving you an opportunity to say that you have both opportunity and another opportunity to push the envelope forward here. Because as they're currently constructed, I think they're a 65-win team today. I do. They don't have enough pitching. They do not have enough pitching. So let's start the base payroll at 37-1. We're going to do the arbitration. There's another 24 players plus your 40 man. Let's pump this puppy up to
60.
Okay, let's go with 60 million. So we got 40 million to spend. All right. I don't think it's going to take 10 million to get Cedric Mullins, but we're going to give him 10.
Give it round up. Treat yourself to rounding up. Let's
Cedric Mullins is part of our team. Cedric Mullins is part of our team at 70. I'm not offering a $3.6 million contract to Michael Tauchman now. I'm letting him walk. Okay. So we're at 70 million. We need pitching. I am in the market. There's a couple of guys that I really was interested in prior to the qualifying offer. We've seen more guys accept the qualifying offer than in recent years due to probably pending labor issues in 2027.
Also, like a Jock Peterson, he's taking that because he hit a 150.
Well, there's some of that, like Shota Imanaga taking the 22-1, punch the Cubs right where in the balls. But it is what it is. I was really interested in Brandon Woodruff as a reclamation project. He stayed with the Brewers. Jack Flaherty was interesting to me, but he opted into his $20 million option.
I thought for sure that he would be a great setup. Like he's got the grit, he's got that that quiet presence, that quiet strength about him. And man, I really wanted to see him in a White Sox uniform.
Okay, so what if I told you like a Zach Littell, Jose Quintana combo coming here? Zach Littell this is kind of his one shot. He's been like a major league middle reliever for most of his career. The last 2 years, he's put together some good numbers. He was traded last year to the Reds from the Rays. I'll give you his numbers. I think he threw 186 innings last year, 186 and 2/3. He was 10-8 with a 381. In the year before that, 2024, he made 29 starts and had a 363.
That's excellent.
So I'm thinking like a 2. Now, judging where you find him, I think ESPN has him at 2 for 18. Trade Rumors has him at 2 for 24. Somewhere in that market.
Well, in order to siphon off a little bit of that on the front end, what about a 3 for 21 for that guy? That
I think he's going to get more. I think you're giving him more years and less AAV. I think you're going to get. this might be his opportunity to get paid. I'll give him of the two. Let's go with the 2 for 24. So now you're going 12 for Zach Littell. I think you get Jose Quintana at a Martin Perez.
Would this be his third stint with the White Sox, or does he come play the Sox a lot?
Yeah, I think it'd be his second. I think you can't count the Cubs and the Brewers, even though it feels like White Sox. So if I say
right.
Quintana knows this, he's like in the $5 million range. Pretty quickly here, we're up to $87 million, and people are going, Guff, you're at $100 million here pretty quick.
Yeah, but let me tell you this, Guff. We have to ask ourselves one question, and that is, what arm can they bring in to not necessarily have a great ERA, not necessarily, to sit there and just carve people up? Who is going to keep the White Sox in games the longest and eat up innings? Because they're just, even if they call up a Hagen Smith or let them break camp, or some of the younger guys like Smitty, they're not going to let these guys throw 200 plus innings. They're just not.
That's exactly my point, which is why you don't have enough pitching. And you learned last year, quite frankly, I really still believe this. You have 2 starters on your staff right now. You have 2. You have Shane Smith, you have Davis Martin, and combined, they've thrown 400 career innings?
Yeah, so over 3 years.
So I think there's some. Sean Burke is he's interesting. He walks a lot of guys. I think Jonathan Cannon is probably better suited for a back end of the bullpen.
Yeah,
because if you could tell me Jonathan Cannon can lock in like the 7th, okay. I'm spending some money up here, by the way, I'm getting a closer this year. I'm bringing a 9th inning guy in as part of my package.
Yeah, go get Aroldis Chapman.
He's re-signed with the Reds.
I know, but I just like, can he come here once? He's played on every team.
Why is Kenley Jansen not talked about more?
Here's the deal. I know what every GM's instant thing to go to is that he's got too much wear and tear. But like you had brought up in previous podcasts, and we had before, who cares? Like, give the guy $10 million and let him come. Just, hey, he's win or lose, he's going to do it. He's going to do it as a pro. Like, there's no like walking the yard, giving up a bunch of homers. It's like, hey, he gets hit around, then so be it. But the 95 mile an hour cutter doesn't grow on trees, man.
He had a 2.59 ERA, 59 innings last year, 57 strikeouts. He had 29 saves. Okay. He had 29 saves for a team that finished way up the tracks in the LA Angels. I can't believe he wasn't traded at the break. He had an 0.94 whip. And I'm not saying that that's sustainable, but I want a guy at least show me your bullpen. I mean, we talked about the White Sox in 1-run games last year. It's pathetic. And if you have any hope to improve on because we should be happy. 60-win team. Okay, well, I'm done celebrating.
If you take our team last year, take the White Sox team last year, and you have Kenley Jansen, the White Sox win 70 games. Like,
I agree with that.
So because you just the 1-run games, just
15 and 36
probability,
15 and 36.
Yeah, they're 20 and 20 or whatever the case may be. They're or 25 and 25. Like, if you play 500 baseball in 1-run games, that's the sad part. That's not elite, but it's good. Like, it keeps you in the season, right? It keeps you competitive.
Yeah, when you look at the White Sox and blown saves, they had 24 of them. So yeah, because they didn't have a defined guy back there. Jordan Leisure led the team in saves. I mean, okay. I'm going to give you Kenley Jansen's name. I'm going to give you Kyle Finnegan's name. Kyle Finnegan.
Finnegan. Yeah.
I do. But Finnegan probably earned himself a 2-year deal as a setup guy. But if you're offering him 9th inning role, I think that's intriguing to a guy who still thinks he can do it and was a former All-Star. I'm saying be creative at the back end. I'm going to establish $10 million to a closer. Okay. Yeah. I'm at 97 really quick here. So that tells me there's a trade in the mix. I'm going to go over budget here, which is not surprising.
What about? Well, hey, yeah, but before we put our foots in our mouths, we'll give ourselves a buffer of ±7, so 93 to 107.
Well, here, let's just do this. We're at $97 million right now. I'm just going to tell you, this is what I've added, and this is what you're going to spring training with. Okay, your current young core as constructed. You're going to spring training with Luis Robert and Andrew Benintendi. You're going with Cedric Mullins, Zach Littell, Jose Quintana, and Kenley Jansen.
I love it. I like. You want to know why I like it? Because look at what they gave. Look at the options we had last year, and I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be an arm in the White Sox current rotation, like a Burke. I've watched that guy pitch. I've watched the stuff he has with the, again, new pitching coach, fresh start to the season. Limit those walks, man. That guy's serviceable. He could be a fourth or fifth starter and get you 8 to 10 wins. I think if he just continues to grow. But you need run support. You need longevity. You got to throw strikes, man.
Agreed. But you can't. That's why I'm signing 2 veterans. I'm signing. Like Martin Perez was a great ad last year, and then he blew out, and good for him for working his way back, because once he hit the 60-day IL, I thought it was all but gone. But you have a new pitching coach, Zach Bove. You have Brian Bannister, who's put together quite the lab on the south side. I know that there's guys out that they're looking at, like I am, that are their list better not just be the same list I printed out. But hey, I'm giving you.
What would you give me? What would you give me if I could get that list? If I could be like, hey, Getsy, I won't tell anybody.
I'll up your salary. I'll up your salary. Okay, so I'm going to give you a name. I'm going to give you a name here because I was in on the Josh Naylor flirtation until he immediately signed 5 years, 92.5. The Sox weren't going there. They weren't going. Well, it's not terrible. It's 24 a year, 23 a year. Yeah. I mean, that's right for Naylor. And I don't think that's a terrible. Like, he saw something in Seattle and was like, hell yeah, I'm here. You know who I'm?
Great place to play, man. It's a great baseball town.
Do you want to know who I'm flirting with? That probably doesn't fit the budget, but can be
Kyle Schwarber for sure.
Oh,
I know
God, no.
I love him.
Flirting. I'd marry Kyle Schwarber. There's no there's no flirtation. I would just open the checkbook, and that one you'd have to overpay. I got a guy for you in his mid-30s who instantly hits 40 home runs for you, plays average to a tick, maybe a little tick below average at third base at this point. Because right now, who's your third baseman?
Oh my gosh! I mean, you ask yourself, are they going to move over? I don't think they're going to move Montgomery, like a Vargas or somebody. Who knows? I mean, I think with the addition,
Vargas can't play third.
I at this point I don't know, but I'll tell you this: I think that's probably why they acquired that Tanner Murray kid. I think he plays everywhere, and it gives them some options if they have to throw a Mydroth over there.
Okay, so I agree with you that Hagen Smith is going to be here in 2026. Noah Schultz will be on the. I think right now Hagen Smith is leapfrog. I think you'd agree. He's jumped in front of Noah Schultz.
Oh, but I'm telling you right now, healthy, with no, like, I'm dominant spring, healthy, no setbacks, like no forearm pain, no shoulder impingement, no setbacks. He's breaking camp.
I'm not going to go that far yet, but I hear what you're saying. Okay, so I'm back on the third base train. Lenin Sosa had a great year for, I guess, surprise year. Fundamentally, he's not a great baseball player. Defensively, I mean, dude, I think there's stuff. I do think the moves made this week, to me, tell me there's more coming. They do.
What are you trying to get, Matt Chapman?
No. You ready? And he may just tell you to go, eat dirt, pound grass, or whatever, because he's at this point in his career only wants to win. And there's going to be a lot of suitors for him that have extra money and can bring him into a team that's trying to win a championship. Eugenio Suarez.
Go get him.
I don't think you're going to, first of all, I don't think you're going to command more than a 3-year deal. I'm wondering, because the Sox don't do this, but I would do this. You want to give what if Eugenio Suarez had a 3-year deal and every year was an opt-out? Every year was an opt-out and you're paying him $25 per.
Yeah, okay, now look. I can't stand the opt-outs. I mean,
I don't care about
I've never seen it like I hate them because, I mean, teams bury players, like they obviously get rid of them, and then every player that has a mildly good year just opts out every time because they get hit free agency.
BA, that's okay in this case. That's okay. He opts out at the end of 2026. You're off the books anyway. Maybe you trade him at the deadline, okay? Because he's hit 25 homers before the All-Star break, and it just hasn't taken off. Now, I just added $25 million to the payroll to the other additions. Now I'm at 122, and you're going, Guff, okay, that's not realistic. And that's
now, Jerry's calling the program going, Guff, easy now.
Jerry's going, dude, who is this guy, and what is he doing?
I got one for you.
Well, let me ask you this though. Okay. So now you have to I have to strip. I'm trying to be reasonable here in the $100 million range. Maybe I go over budget. Maybe Zach Littell is not on your staff now. So you go Cedric Mullins, Jose Quintana, Kenley Jansen, Eugenio Suarez, and you're sitting at 110. But Jerry goes, the books are closed come the deadline because you went over budget.
Yeah, you got to give yourself some wiggle room there, but do
you really though? You're a flipping 101 win team the last 2 years, 41 and 60.
Hey, you know all the stuff I'm going through personally right now, and let me tell you, I have beat my head up against the door, being like, but why won't they do this? And I have to remind myself, because they're not.
But my point, I'm putting heat. No. I'm not letting that. I'm not just trying to be like, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm putting more heat on the White Sox front office. I'm putting more heat on Chris Getz, because right now, if the White Sox, let's just say if they did $110 million, which I know what I'm saying, you're asking them to jump. I'm asking them to jump $30 million from last year in payroll. $30 million, which, by the way,
that's not a lot.
Okay, thank you. That's my point. $30 million, okay? And you know where that would rank them in payroll for 2020, if you were on the 2025 payroll? You know where that would rank them?
Them like 20. It'd probably put them 29th.
It would put them 26th. 26th. So, 24th. So, okay. They were 30th last year. I'm asking you to move up 6 spots. Or let's go with the $97 million option, and you're keeping Lenyn Sosa, and you're just plug and play and patch and play at third base. I don't like that move. It's too valuable a position to do that. And now we're in the $97 to $100 million payroll, which is where this podcast promised you we would be at the start. And now your payroll in 2026 is less than the Cleveland Guardians, is less than the Washington Nationals, is less than the Sacramento A's. That's not true. The Sacramento A's is still taller. The Sacramento A's is still TBD. But you're less than those organizations. You've jumped in front of the Miami Marlins, just a tad bit in front of the Tampa Bay Rays. I could say this is another place to get creative. Re-sign Adrian Hauser. You mentioned Eric Fedde. Re-sign Eric Fedde on a 1 for 6 or something.
Why would they not? Is he still available?
He is. Oh yeah.
Why would you not bring that guy back?
So now
is go overseas. Go grab. You're trying to tell me
there is an overseas guy, Ponce or something like that.
Yeah. There's not one guy for $8 million you can't go snag.
No, there is. So let's get rid of the multi-year commitment to Littell and bring back faces. Jose Quintana, Fedde or Hauser-ish.
Why is Hauser not in a White Sox uniform? Like, he's like, what else did I have to do to not justify another?
So now by signing Hauser, we knock off $5 million of our payroll.
Now we're at 90.
Now we're at 90. Why? I don't know if you're going to need to give him a 2-year deal.
I know, but no, I don't know.
Don't just hand out 2-year deals.
The way I operate as a general manager or as a leader in a leadership role is I think you reward the guys that do it the right way. And for me, he's still a trade chip in June, right? And it's like in June, July. It doesn't matter anyways. But I think you give them that job security. I think players play better with job security. I just think they do.
All right, so here we go.
In a situation like that.
We are now, okay, I just gave you a package of $122 million, okay? This is not Hauser this is like Littell. This is like a 2-year, $24 million pitcher, so let's just use Littell for now. It could be somebody else. And a Quintana Hauser type, okay? Those are the two. I'm also giving you Eugenio Suarez, Kenley Jansen, and Cedric Mullins. The path to making that happen is Luis Roberts traded beforehand. And now you're probably eating some kind of money on the return. Like you're taking somebody else's bad Luis Robert, and maybe it's not $20 million because you're sweetening the pot with a younger player. So, but you're taking, dude, you're right at 105 to 110. And You have Pereira playing center field, Cedric Mullins in the corner. You have Eugenio Suarez that's going to hit 35 to 40. No doubt about it, hitting cleanup. You don't care about his on-base percentage. He's playing third base. Miguel Vargas can play first base, whatever. You can figure out first base later. We got Colson Montgomery, Chase Mydroth, Kyle Teal playing catcher. And your rotation has 2 vets in it. And, oh, by the way, you have the guy with the most career saves, most active career saves in the 9th inning, and you can work backwards from there. Or Kyle Finnegan.
I want to give you one more scenario.
Give me one more.
I got one more scenario for you, and you're going to love this one. Andrew Benintendi, Luis Robert, before spring training ends, whether they have great springs, something that the White Sox see that's worth a value, they shave both those guys, get rid of both those guys before the spring, and what do you do with that $35 million?
Well, first off, I don't think it's as easy as somebody taking
30.
If
47.
You think, okay, I don't give a shit what the scenario is. If you're finding me any scenario where you unload both those players and you only are paying 7.1, the package I just told you better happen. Better happen, because now.
But that's what I mean.
And I'm going to look right into the camera here on this one. Chris, go pound the table a little bit, because you got momentum here. You have momentum. You know, a year ago, we're doing this podcast. Every single person in baseball would laugh us down the block, and you might still be doing it now. I am sick of acquiring players that were former number 1 prospects to hope, because they have an opportunity here and they have a runway. Now they can actually. Curtis Mead does not look like a guy to me. Miguel Vargas has shown flashes, but I don't know if he's ever going to take off. Add to what you have. You have a strong core. Kyle Teal's a dude. Colson Montgomery is a dude. Edgar Carroll looks like a guy. You got stud pitchers coming. You are going to have more players. Braden Montgomery is knocking on your front door right flipping now. Don't wait. Don't do what the last rebuild did, which was hand the keys over to all of your kids. Do not do that. Give some veteran presence in that clubhouse that's been there and done that and can help shape this group and take them to somewhere that you might not know they can go quicker than you may have thought while being within budget. That's what I'm asking. That's why I think $100 million payroll. I'm not asking for 150. I'm not asking for 125. Yeah. I'm being realistic here to say, Jerry, do it before the sport is ruined, before the sport closes its doors in 2027. If you do that, you're going to kill all the flipping momentum. 18 to 34 ratings were up for the first time in 2 decades in this sport. You are going to close those doors if you shut the sport down in 2027. Give this fan base something, a carrot, a cookie, and not just rookies and guys are, Colson Montgomery might hit 40. He might hit 40 this year, but put some protection around him and a guy named Eugenio Suarez. Help your kids out. Help them evolve and take the next step by spending just a little bit of extra money. And I know 25 to 30 million is a lot more than a little bit of money, but in the grand scheme of baseball terms and seeing where you would rank in the payroll, etc., it's not that much. And you know what? Your fan base deserves it. You got Justin Ishbia talking about being a steward out there, the future steward of the game, that he's out here listening to the fan base. He wants to take in as much information as possible. Well, Jerry, you're the current steward. Do it. Give them something back. Give yourself something back. And sign a couple of guys that have done it for a long period of time and show them that you actually have rookie core that can take this thing to another step in a shitty division when you got the Twins rebuilding, the Royals spinning their tires, the Tigers who have a little bit more of a window open, and the Guardians who have been doing this the right way, their way for 15 to 20 years. You can compete in 2026 in the AL Central by doing a little bit more.
Yeah. Hey, man.
That's all I got.
There's nothing else to say that's well said, brother. Hey, sometimes you just got to sit back and let your brother take the reins, baby.
So of all these guys, what's the most realistic? Are the White Sox going to have an $80 million payroll?
No, they're gonna spend, but I think they're going to spend money on maybe 1 or 2 players, but they're going to get creative. I think they're going to get creative more than they're going to open up the checkbook.
Creative to me tells me there's a trade.
Sure, and I hope so.
And it might be a trade that might make you raise eyebrows.
Huh? Yeah, but I just love the Hauser and Fetty type bringing them back. Like, again, you're going to bring Quintana back, but you're not going to bring those guys back? Give me a break.
I like just the lefty-righty veteran combo.
I love Quintana, too. Not a better clubhouse guy.
And by the way, I don't care if Quintana's got a 4.30 ERA. You know why? Because I know how many innings. He's going to just sit there and take the ball every 15.
Dude, that's like second on our team.
That's
if you have a starting rotation with a combined ERA in the 4s, you're doing pretty good.
No, I just want some. I'm all about protecting the assets, and you got some assets in your starting staff, and you need to protect them with some veteran arms. And adding one Martin Perez to me is not enough. Every GM in baseball, whether you're going to win 60 or lose 60, will tell you need 8 to 12 to 15 pitchers. Look at how the Dodgers have done it. Blake Snell went out and pitched in the postseason like he was Cy Young again because he didn't throw a lot of bullets in the regular season. I know I'm not comparing the Sox to the Dodgers, but they see the value in adding depth to the rotation, and the White Sox need to do that, and I would love it if there was a closer in the background. I think we got it. I think we got it figured out. We're getting rid of.
I'll ping Getsy right now. I'll be like, Kenley Jansen, please.
By the way,
please.
I please give me Kenley Jansen. I think that there's going to be a market of teams that are in the like. If I'm the Cubs, I don't know why they wouldn't sign Kenley Jansen, but Kyle Finnegan. I want a guy when I flip over the back of the baseball card that has career saves, and I'm not talking about 3. I'm talking about like 78 or 412. I think whatever.
You realize, like, we spent a podcast last year saying, like, who will have the most saves for the Sox? We're like 7.
And it was.
But that just goes to show you, man. Like, come on, man. Like, you got to have someone with 20 to 23. Like, I mean, that's just bottom of the barrel.
Check out Sinus and Snoring MD. If you're a snorer, sinusandSnoringMD.com is your place to go. Their advanced treatments and procedures actually fix the problem so you can breathe better, sleep better, and feel better. If you're a fall allergy person like me, my God, get it done. SinusandSnoringMD.com. Start your season the right way. 847-886-0875. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. We've started to see some of the dominoes fall here. Not just Josh Naylor. Iglesias re-signed with the Braves. Like, we're seeing some. I didn't even mention a guy like Ryan O'Hearn, which could be in the mix for the White Sox. But like,
we're talking about names, Guff. Like, and again, you're not wrong to want them because it makes sense. But we need to remind ourselves we're living in a fantasy world. At no point were the White Sox in on Naylor. Like, at 95, we're like, what? Like,
dude.
He's a great addition, though.
I like the idea of at least calling Josh Naylor. I'm flirting hard with Eugenio Suarez. I want to know I want to know, like, get a good sense on what that market is. If he's like for certain getting 3 full years at 75 plus, you probably let him walk. But if there's a scenario where he's a 2-year with a high AAV or 2-year or opt out, stop being so old school, dude. Don't be afraid to give opt outs. Don't be afraid to throw a little deferred at the back end. Be creative to get to your budget number and have a shot here to go, our projections say 78 to 84. I'm curious like a cat if you're doing that. If you're adding these names and we're going to Glendale, PA, book a flight, dude. I'm going with you.
Yeah, right. I got Cap's credit card, man. I'm flying out for spring training. Best believe that.
Oh, this was a good episode. I feel like I got what I needed to get off my chest. Therapy has been a very common term for you and I lately.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm therapied out. I'm theraped.
Well, I better let you go because I think you have another appointment to get to.
Yeah, only 3 hours, man. I mean, like, I have to call my mom daily. I'm like, am I that messed up?
This is the White Sox Recap Podcast. He's Brian Anderson. I'm Ryan McGuffey. We're here for you each and every week or when White Sox news breaks. Appreciate you listening here and watching on YouTube. And if you don't already subscribe to the channel, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? We have a membership now too. You can do that by clicking the join button and make sure you click that notification bell because every time a new episode drops, bing, you get the notification that you get to see these two goofballs each and every time. And for those of you who listen on audio only, we're here for you always as well. Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcast. Next week is Thanksgiving. BA, thankful for you, brother, to have you in my life. I love having you as a podcast partner, but your friendship means even more than that. So,
you too, pal.
Yeah, for BA, for Guff, we appreciate you listening to this edition of the White Sox Recap Podcast here on the Recap Network. Chris, get out the checkbook. Let's go.